Hello everyone and welcome to another foundation review from me. This week, for this week's weekly wear, I was surprised that you guys wanted to see me test out this foundation. I purchased it because I was told that you wanted to see a review from me on this foundation, and then also I took a poll over on Twitter as I tend to do, so if you want to join in on the Cassie, which foundation should you test out next kind of a group of people, you should definitely follow me on Twitter, and then you can engage in those polls. And as you can see here, this new Anastasia foundation won out by quite a bit. And like I said, I'm surprised. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous foundation, medium coverage foundation with a luminous natural finish, which, you know, for people with oily skin like me, that's scary, and I haven't looked yet. We're gonna look together online, but I feel like this was not meant or made for oily skin. We'll see. But in any case, ping, here you go. Here's the foundation, like I said, for 1.01 ounce of product, so a little over the typical one. It is $38. There are 50 different shades in this line of foundation, which is just, yay. Happy day, especially because it looks like it does go from quite pale to quite deep with lots of things in between. I personally chose the shade 210N, so we'll see how that does on my skin. Although here we go, this is telling me that this was made for my skin. It is supposed to be a water-resistant liquid foundation that creates a luminous natural finish that is long-wearing even without a setting powder. It's going to give a medium natural finish. Like I said, it's also a liquid foundation, and it is for normal, dry, combo, and oily skin. It's also free of parabens and mineral oil. It is also vegan, cruelty-free, and gluten-free. Blah, blah, blah. It's gonna blur imperfections, be it discoloration or unevenness, without caking or masking the skin's natural radiance. It's going to be an easy to blend formula that will go on seamlessly and leave the skin just look perfect with no flashback and no oxidization. I feel like there is a mixed consensus on which word is actually the word. Either way, they just say to basically put this on like any other foundation, start in the middle of your face, blend outwards, you can use your fingers, sponge, brush, etc. Blah, blah, blah. So let's go ahead and hop on over to my natural daylight setting. We can start testing this out on my skin. I am certainly curious, and it sounds like, or it looks like you guys are too. So, boop up, let's go. Alrighty, my friends, let's go ahead and crack into this. I'm trying to think, from Anastasia, I've tried out one of their foundations, the stick foundation, but I feel like this bottle looks so familiar, like I've tried it before, but I haven't because it's new. But I'm hoping it'll be a good skin match. I mean, we're gonna find out one way or another, but as always, glasses wearers of the world, I've got you covered. Also, acne wearers of the world, I got you covered, although my skin is looking much better than it was in last week's foundation review. I've given it a couple days to kind of settle and adjust itself. So let's see. Y'all know the only pumps I like are the ones that work. There she goes. Doesn't really smell like anything, to be honest, and it is a liquidier foundation for sure. This looks like it might be a little yellow or orangey. We'll see. Or maybe golden. Golden is the word I'm looking for. But overall, it's not bad. It's not as ghostly white as I feel like I've been using lately. There you go. Looks pretty dang good in terms of its blendability and finish. Very natural, although it does look like it is also settling into my nose pores. So let's go ahead, see if a sponge application does any better. Yes, 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 a million times over, yes to sponge application. I think it looks much better on the sponge side. Got rid of my nose pores being accentuated. And overall, I just like the way it looks more on the sponge side. Whew, this color is making me look like I've got all sorts of a tan on my face anyways. I'm gonna go ahead and try building this up a bit. There we go. So yes, I would certainly say that this is buildable. You know, certain scabs of mine were not as susceptible to accepting the foundation, but overall I think I was able to cover much of the discoloration on my face. Overall, just making things look a bit more even, a bit more golden, a bit more tan. Yeah, overall I think it looks very nice and natural. Definitely has a dewy finish to it. I'm gonna go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup, omitting powder as well as primer today, just so we can see how this is doing. And yeah, I will be checking in with you guys as per usual throughout the day so we can continue seeing how this is doing. And then I will see you at the very end of the night. So, alright, on with it. Ready? Ding! Alright, my friends. Oh, what a journey. So, things were going okay up until now. It hasn't been that long since I first put this on. It's been maybe 5.5-ish, going on 6 hours here. I did a live Instagram feed today. That was a lot of fun, trying on some lip products with you all, and just did some general, more like packing. I cooked my meals for the week, and I came to check in because it was feeling very oily and starting to feel heavy because of my oils. Looked at my face. I looked like an utter absolute grease ball, and I hadn't really, as far as I know, touched my face yet, so I went ahead and tried touching my nose, swiping along my nose. Foundation came right off, and I went ahead and blotted my face to try and get rid of some of that shininess, and essentially the foundation came completely off on the blotting sheet, as you can see across my cheeks and my nose. Like, just completely goodbye. And since then, I just went ahead and did dishes, fed the cats, and I feel like it's not even worth testing this out anymore today. I think for this to work on me, it's really gonna need at least a primer. I would say a primer and a setting powder like I typically do, because the way that this went today, I'ma say nay. I also checked when I was like doing screenshots and stuff for the beginning of this video, and I feel like this is a thing with Anastasia foundations, is that they do tend to run really golden and slightly orange. People in the Sephora reviews and stuff were saying that too, so even though this should have worked for me in terms of a shade match, I even went ahead and like put in, you know, my shade finder, and this was supposed to be like a perfect match for me based on the match that I have in my Estee Lauder foundation. I'm gonna disagree, so I'm probably also gonna need to use a white mix-in medium. I just feel like, yeah, not quite right. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day on my makeup here, since this is not gonna get any better, and it's already pretty much gone from this middle part of my face, so like, I don't really see a point in keeping on wearing it today, but I will be testing it out for 2 more days with you all so that we can see how it will perform with added products, added helping hands on the face. That will be that. I'm excited to try other ways of application and of wear, and I'm excited to do so with you all. So I'll see y'all in just a second here. Ready? Ding! All right, my friends, hello, good evening, welcome to my final day of testing here. If that side didn't tell you how I feel about this foundation, well, let me tell you in actual words here. I had methods to my madness of these next couple days of testing out this foundation. Just really wanted to test out and really wanted to know about this whole claim that this does not need a setting powder. So I figured, since I also wanted to try it with primer, there would be a way that I could tell if that alone was the thing that was, you know, yay, independent variables! Little science class callback. On day 2, I went ahead and decided to use my Guerlain primer so that the foundation had a nice base to stick to rather than a hydrating one. This one, like I said, gave it something to stick to, mattified a bit. 'Twas a good adhesive primer, / 'tis a good adhesive primer, but I did not use powder this time. Again, I wanted to see if we did not indeed need powder to set this foundation. I did also use a white mix-in medium to make this more my shade, because it was not my shade, or it is not my shade originally, this 210N shade. But the NYX mix-in medium, it's wonderful. It does not affect the wear of foundation at all. You don't believe me? I made a whole video on it. So feel free to check that out It looked good, had easy application, just like always right from the start. Just like always. Just like the first time anyways, but it did have a dewy finish right from the get-go, so me as an oily skinned person, bit nervous to continue on with the day. However, I went ahead and I stuck with things, and however, I was oily at my first check-in, and the foundation transferred pretty badly onto blotting sheets, like definitely to a noticeable extent in any case. So for the rest of the night, I tried really hard since I had noticed that transfer onto the blotting sheets. I tried so hard not to touch my face, like not even to itch it, not even, like just nothing. I didn't want anything touching my face. And oh goodness gracious, thankus. I am so glad because at the end of the night, as you can see, I was super oily once again, even though I had just been sitting around cross-stitching and watching trashy TV with my mom, and this foundation just wiped straight off of my face. You could literally see the finger streaks across my forehead from where I swiped. And it's not like I'm pushing ridiculously hard when I do these things, you guys. It's like I use a normal, like, if you end up accidentally touching your face through the day kind of a pressure. However, I was not going to give up hope on this foundation quite yet. I was going to give it a third day of testing, and this time I was going to, in addition to the primer, also use a good setting powder on my face. So I went ahead, did the usual. I used my Guerlain primer, nice sticky adhesive base for it, went ahead, mixed a good amount of white mix in medium. I felt like I had to use a 1-to-1 ratio to get my good shade match, but I was able to get it. I also used a concealer just in hopes that I wouldn't have to build up this foundation as much. I thought maybe that's why it was feeling heavy the past couple days, is maybe I just used too much. So I definitely used a thinner layer today than I had the previous 2 days. And then, like I said, I went ahead and used a powder on top of it, and oh my gosh, it looked so much better, I thought anyways. It completely took away the dewiness of the foundation, although I feel like it also completely took away the whole purpose of this foundation, since it is supposed to be a luminous foundation. Well, I went ahead and made it matte, but even though I was just doing a bunch of filming and editing here this afternoon, even at the first check-in, I was looking oily. Not as oily as I had the previous couple days, but still looking oily. Went ahead and blotted, had the same thing happen where it was transferring onto the blotting sheets. I definitely noticed throughout the day, just like I had before on the previous days, that if I touch my face even the slightest bit, I can see the transfer come off of it. And here at the end of the night, even though I've just been like doing housework and whatnot, like nothing strenuous, it's already looking oily again. It feels mask-like on me, and I just don't like it. I don't think that this is actually for all skin types, for oily skin types included in that all skin types. Wasn't it all skin types? Please, mind, don't be failing me now. So for the pros and cons here on this foundation. For the pros, I absolutely have to give it credit. The application is very easy, you know, it blends in very nicely, it smooths out, it builds, you know, so you've got nice buildable coverage, whatever kind of coverage you want. I feel like you could get most coverage types with this except for full, maybe if you really piled it on, but I would say for sure you can get light to medium to like a full medium type of coverage from it. So versatile in that sense. It also, in the beginning, even though it is dewier than I like a foundation to look, I still have to give it credit. I do think it looks nice and natural and skin-like on the skin. However, this is where we get into the cons. First being, and I'm basing this on my experience as well as other reviews I was reading online, the shade range. While it looks extensive and good, I would really suggest going into the store and getting shade matched or figuring it out in person, because online the descriptions of the shades are, in my opinion, incorrect, and a lot of people say that this leans very golden, very orange looking, and I also very much agree with that statement. Then this next one here has to do if you have oily skin, and that is just, well, I'm assuming it has to do with oily skin because I feel like it's only when your oils start to come through then it starts to feel quite mask-like. Not necessarily heavy, but it just, you can feel it sitting on top of your skin, which to me just isn't comfy, and it just makes you nervous that if anything is going to touch your face, you are doomed. Or maybe you're not doomed, but your foundation sure is. And another thing, due to oiliness, at least I'm thinking it's just because of the oiliness, is just that this transfers pretty darn badly and also just wipes right off if you are especially oily. It's just not, I mean, it's one of those things. It's not the worst foundation I've ever tried out. Certainly not the worst. But it's just, I don't think it's good for oily skin. I just really don't. Personal preference, yes, but also, there you go. There's my opinion and experience. I do think that this would be good for people that have dry and normal skin, for sure. But I think if you have any kind of oils, even if you have combo skin, I just would say there are better foundations that you are gonna like better out there. So definitely let me know down in the comments below if you have tried out this foundation. What did you think about the shade range and colors? Are you able to find one easily online, or have you had problems too? How did you get on with the foundation? What kind of skin do you have, etc, etc. It's always good to cook up a nice casserole of comments with you guys down in the comment section below. You can also let me know if there are any other foundations, since there are so many that have been released recently. Let me know down in the comments below which ones you are particularly interested in having me test out here. You can also let me know if you enjoyed this video by giving it a thumbs up down below. I would really appreciate it. And if you are new here, hey, hi, hello, how are you? You can go ahead and subscribe. You can tippity tap that notification bell down below. Become a member of my casserole family here on my channel. I'd love to have you here. And as always, I just hope you guys are all doing well. Until next time, just stay well until then. Bye!